try some radical expressions. First problem, x times the square root of 96y cubed plus 5y times the square root of 6x squared y. My technique of choice here is to do what I call break out of prison. So I see 96 here. 96 is equal to, let's break this down through factoring, 2 times 48, 4 times 12, 2 times 2 is 4, 12 is 4 times 3, and then 4 is 2 times 2. So that cancels out all of these pieces because they got broken down into their prime constituents. And then y cubed is y. On the other hand, on the left we have a 6, which breaks down into a 2, 3, and the variables are x, y. So we see a 2 times a 3 times an x times a y. Now the breakout of prison technique, when we have a square root, the objects that break out of prison are pairs. There's a pair of things can escape from the prison and become a single on the outside. So as I look through my breakdown here, I see that there is a pair of 2's, there's a pair of 2's, and there's a pair of y's. So on the outside of the expression, we already had an x. Escaping, we have a 2 and a 2 and a y, and left in prison because they didn't escape would be singleton 2 and singleton 3 and the single copy of y. So this side would become, as we can see all together, 2 times 2 is 4, x, y, radical 2 times 3 is 6, y. And doing the same analysis on the right hand side, we can see that we have a pair of x's, so they're going to escape. So we'll have an 5 and a y that were already here, an x that escapes, a square root in which we still have the 2 and the 3 and the y, and so that side is going to become 5xy, radical 2 times 3 is 6y. Now notice conveniently that both sides reduce down to have the same xy radical 6y. So now we can just look at the numbers and say, well, there's 4 of them here, 5 of them here, so the total final answer to this is, well, what's 4 plus 5? 9 xy radical 6y. And that's the final answer. So why don't you try one on your own here? Try to do s times the square root of 27 st squared minus t times the radical of 75s cubed. So pause the video, take a shot on your own, and assuming you did so, 27 is 9 3, 9 is 3 3, st. Over here, 75 is 3 times 25, 25 is 5 times 5, and we have an SSS from there. Any pairs? Looks like a pair of 3's and a pair of t's, and over here we have a pair of 5's and a pair of s's. So when we break out of prison here, we would have the s with the newfound 3 and the newfound t with a square root of, what's left over would be the copy of 3 and a copy of s, minus the t. Breaking out of prison, we have a 5 and an s, and inside of the square root we're left with the 3 and the s. So we end up having 3st radical 3s minus 5st radical 3s. And notice that the terms are alike, so we can just evaluate 3 minus 5 as negative 2 st radical 3s.